We left pitchforks in the back there.
Sweet. Yeah, I didn't see any torches, pitchforks, that's good. Appreciate all the council being here tonight. We do have a full quorum. To begin, is it your turn?
For the prayer, it's Councilman Wyatt was one of them.
I thought we skipped him last time.
I did
Did
it.
you do it for the last time? Okay. We'll have Councilman
Forgot
Wyatt.
our deal.
You know, oh, he did say it at the Christmas party. We'll move it to Councilman Barrett. And then, I don't see our chief here tonight, but we'll go ahead and recite the Pledge of Allegiance following the prayer.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day and grateful for this opportunity to meet in city council meeting as citizens and members of the council and others with interest in our city. We pray that we may make the correct decisions in behalf of the citizens as we deliberate and discuss options and the best interests of the city. We are thankful for those who serve here in our city and thankful for those who serve on the council and those citizens who regularly show interest and assist in steering and directing the progress and direction of the city. We're grateful for all of our blessings, and we're grateful especially this time of year as we celebrate the birth of thy Son, Jesus Christ, for his sacrifice and for the blessings that come to each of us in our lives because of that. We pray tonight that we may enjoy this meeting and feel thy love, and we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We do have a few councilmen-elect and the mayor-elect here tonight, so they get to direct this meeting next, well, January. I was going to say next week, but in a couple weeks. So. We do have the first item, the previous minutes of 12/2/25. Any amendments or corrections to those minutes?
I would move we approve. I think they're okay.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Goodrich. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. We do have our public comment period tonight. We can take up to 15 minutes total. Anyone from the public can speak to the council for up to 3 minutes. Are there any tonight that would like to take that opportunity?
Yes, we should. Should we?
None of this side of the group, I thought at least one. Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward to our first item, which is public hearing. But before we do, can we have Kyle Garcia, will you come up and kind of give us a brief rundown of some of the proposed changes at the golf course?
Yes, I'm Kyle Garcia. I represent the golf course as the clubhouse manager. We usually do some great proposals. We try to alternate years, whether we raise daily rates or season passes. It's been a few years, maybe 5 or more, since we actually did daily rates. And we wanted to bring our daily rates to industry standards. So we'll go back to that first one right there. Yep, no. So yellow kind of highlights our proposed, anything that's yellow is changed from the previous year. All the cart fees are up 5%, which is just 50 cents, as well as our weekday rates. Our biggest change are our weekend rates, up 20%. We've seen a higher demand for weekend gameplay, and that includes Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays is considered a golf weekend. And so raising and we're actually just raising that to an industry standard, and even then in my comparison, we're still like right at the median. $18 for 9 holes on a weekend is right at the median. So we're still kind of in the middle, but In my comparison with all the other golf courses, we are kind of middle in the population for rural golf courses, which is highlighted on the other chart below. But while we're still on this page, I did propose some changes to a few season passes, just to bring up with some industry standards, junior rate and couple season pass. Those are up 7% for the junior rate and couples up 20%, just to kind of match the other couples rates. Throughout all the other golf courses, that ours is on more of the lower end of schedule. I just believe with our golf course, we're the treasure, and demand is really high right now, and taking an opportunity to raise our rates is, while remaining at a good value, with Mike and his crew providing a great golf course, allows us to be able to raise our rates and still provide good value for our citizens. The personal cart fee up from $390 to $500. We also sold a separate rider fee of $150. We have been experiencing some issues with the plethora of personal carts that we have. We sold over 100 personal cart passes last year, and there just creates some issue with borrowing carts and other things, so this will help kind of alleviate that issue. Just making it one flat rate fee for their personal cart that'll include their rider for families. The new one that we need to discuss tonight is our cart storage from $206 to a proposed $1,000.
That's annually, right?
Annually, yes, an annual rate. From previous council, it has been proposed that we're gonna install a cart storage that is provided by the city. In the previous proposal, there was an inclusion of the unlimited cart pass included. After meeting with the city manager as well as Mike and our new recreation director, Edwin, we tried to find a number that was reasonable for both parties. And if we go to the shed comparison on page, towards the bottom, I think, maybe it's one. I don't have it on here. I do have a shed comparison page. There's not too many golf courses in the state of Utah that provide sheds. And we would be on a high end of that in my initial study, with Moab being the closest at 700. So we thought it would be best to include the personal cart season pass with your shed rental for the season at $1,000. We also compared that to local storage sheds, which are about $720 to $1,000 per year. So we're kind of right in line with a storage shed that's maintained. I think the goal for those new sheds is to fill them, so providing an excellent value it would put your personal cart pass to be $500, but you're getting your shed basically for $500 would be reasonable for those who are having to remove their sheds, pay for the removal of their sheds, the inconvenience of removing their sheds, of being there for 20, 10, 5 years. I think it's a reasonable proposal for them to want to get back in them, give them the first rights to get back in the sheds. I think that highlights all the rate changes.
I don't remember, but what was the number we had to pay off those sheds in? Do you remember what number we talked about? Is that in line with what we talked about before? Yeah.
Yeah, so what would the payoff of the shed construction be if you charge that?
I believe that there was a 5-year plan at $1,300.
So probably around 7 years. Then.
Probably around 7 years, just backing it up 2 years to have it paid off. But the goal is to have it filled. If we can't fill it at $1,300, then
Right.
trade initiates. And then you're still up to 7 years.
Great question. Are there any other questions from council on any of the rate
I'm just
changes?
wondering, the golf committee, if they had a chance to look at this or review?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, golf committee quit meeting
Okay,
18 months ago.
sounds good. Just thought I would check.
Any other questions from council?
Carl, you said, so it looks here, the season pass for an adult is 700. If they do the cart storage for 1,000, then they're really paying for this shed rental for 300 for the year, right? Is that what I'm reading?
No, and there may have been a typo on one of them. The shed rental includes a personal limited cart pass, not the season
Not the
pass.
season
Oh.
pass.
So if they get a season pass at 700 and they have a shed with their cart, it'd be at $5,700.
Okay, I just am trying to clarify that.
And then I had a question on your weekday and weekend rates. Is there a reason why the 16 and under are staying the same? Do they have to golf with an adult or what? Why would you?
I mean,
I'm
our
just
goal,
curious.
our goal as a city golf course is to invite junior golfers to play the game. We're trying to grow our interest in the sport and, you know, give our city like a cheaper option for kids to recreate. So leaving that kind of at a lower price invites the family nature of the recreation to the golf course.
Are they required to be with an adult?
So 16, they're required to have a driver's license to drive the golf carts. So they're not necessarily required to be with an adult if they're walking and they're under the age of 16.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to go into public
I move
hearing.
we go into public hearing to discuss the rate changes at the golf course that were provided by Kyle Garcia.
Okay, we have a motion, second by Councilman Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll consider ourselves in a public hearing. Are there any comments from the public? If you just comment, if you just come take Kyle's place here at the mic, state your name for the record, social security number and birthday.
Not gonna give you my social security number, JR, but, Bo Hancock, first time seeing the rates, I think it's what Kyle proposed is reasonable. I've been around the golf course quite a bit in my life. I've had a few of the citizens talk about the change in the rental storages for the golf cart sheds. I think combining the golf cart pass with the rental shed for that $1,000 per year is reasonable. I think some of you are paying anywhere between $250 to $350 per year right now to have your shed there. I think this is a great project. It's going to make that area look better. It's going to expand some of the parking lots that we need for overflow. When you see tournament days up there, the cars are running down the streets off the clubhouse drive. I'm in support of what Kyle's proposing. It seems reasonable and it's going to continue to impact the citizens to utilize what they have in this small community. Not a lot of cities this size have that type of amenity. And the council recalls and acknowledges the amount of charitable contributions that run through that golf course. It's probably anywhere between $400,000 to $500,000 a year that these different entities get the money and they reinvest that a lot of times back into the community to overall state benefit. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Any others?
Seeing none, Mayor, I move we go back into regular.
I'll make that decision. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I'm just trying to help you move the meeting along. I'll make the motion to move back to regular session.
We have a motion, second by Councilman Allen, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're back in regular session. Any other further discussion by the council?
I would move we approve the proposed fee schedule changes presented by Kyle tonight.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman White, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is unanimous. Okay. Kimberly, I don't think I saw her. Do you want to go ahead and Kirby present on JUB, General Engineering Services?
Yeah, I
just here, this is something that's annually done, for Roosevelt Airport, with JUB Engineering. It's a, general, engineering services annually, like I say. And the fee compensation for their work is not to exceed 10,000, and that's all the rest. Oh,
Okay, is that mic on?
I don't think
No.
so. You must have.
Turn it on.
There you go.
Might not have been on. Kirby just doesn't have a
Yeah, I
voice
don't
that
talk
carries.
loud, yeah, exactly.
Quite like
So, yeah, it's just a general engineering task that we do annually, well, actually, JUB does ask for. And, like I say, the compensation is not to exceed 10,000, and, every year we usually use them, and their services have been great, so I have no issues whatsoever, signing on for another year.
Yeah, and to be more specific, this is for our airport,
Yeah.
so they're the engineers for our airport. They've been doing a fantastic job over the last several years, and so.
Yep, they have, for sure.
Any questions for Kirby?
This already in our budget for,
Yeah, it has been, it's under the general engineering services, though.
I thought it was, I was just trying to remember.
Yes, sir. Great.
Any other questions?
Airport committee in support,
Yes.
Yes.
I would move we approve them.
Okay, we have a motion to approve,
I'll second it.
second by Councilman Goodrich, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
All right.
motion
Thank you.
passes, thank you. I think this is the moment everyone's been waiting for. Cougar Land Services proposal. No, I'm just kidding. All Abilities Playground discussion. Dustin? Just kidding, Royce.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Thank you for the time. Definitely excited to be here tonight to give an update on our All Abilities playground that we've been working on for quite a while now. The last time that we met, we discussed about a location. And it was approved that we look into Central Park right next to the existing one. We're gonna keep the existing one and then also add this All Abilities playground as well, next to it where the volleyball kid is at. And since we met last time, we've actually created a committee that includes community partners in our area. And we have some great community partners that we have here. And we've been able to meet together and kind of discuss what we think would be good for our area when it comes to an all-ability playground. We've also, over the years, have reached out to families that have special needs in their family. And just recently, we were able to reach out to some more families. And I appreciate all the families that are here tonight. We're actually able to meet with one family and get some input on what all-ability program or playgrounds they've been to. We got some good feedback from them, and we really appreciate what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So I definitely appreciate that. What we've done is we've reached out to Big Key Recreation. I highly encourage you to go to their webpage and also their YouTube page and see all the amazing projects that they have done around the state of Utah. I'm confident in saying they're the best in the state. And he has prepared a video presentation with the recommendations that we have from the committee and also family members that have special needs. So if we could watch it just for a second. just to go over a few highlights from that rendering that we just saw of the All Abilities program, the All Abilities playground, excuse me. So this playground was designed for children of all abilities, enjoying and sharing the same playground. That was our vision and goal. It's about being part of something together. And so this playground type is a large ramp all abilities playground with shade structures. Some of the features have a double bay swing set, double zoom tracks, motion components and century play, 6 benches, and ADA accessibility. Some of the features, elevated activities are required 16, provided is 25. Ground level activities required are 10, provided are 19, and ground level play types required are 5, and provided is 7. Just kind of about the area, the square footage, the total surfacing area is 9,486 square feet. This age group is around 5 to 12 years old, and the zone is 102 feet by 93 feet. So it is a pretty large area, but we're able to fit it in the location that we approved. And then the big thing is the cost breakdown, and I think that's something that we need to discuss. And just to point out, our purpose tonight is not to come and ask the council for the amount of $976,000. Rather, what we're doing tonight is just to ask for approval to move forward with this project and to reach out to our community partners and get with them and get a commitment of what they're capable and what they're able to donate. And just, we are on the time frame that we could possibly, if everything goes well, we could start on this project in April. It takes about 3 months to build this type of all abilities playground. So, but first, is there any questions?
Question real quick.
Yeah.
A couple questions and then a comment, and then I'll open it up to the council. But when will they need to have a final decision to be able to start in April, let's say?
We need a commitment by the end of January.
Okay.
The end of January, and then they can actually start, they can schedule their crew to start in the end of April. And that way, if they start in the end of April, they'll be done by July, which actually might benefit us because what we can do is we can budget for next year, and we can budget for whatever we need to make up, if we need to make that up. There's nothing down, which is nice because it's under the state contract. We don't owe them anything down until the project is done. So that makes it nice for getting this paid for and whatnot. But
Awesome.
Yep.
And then the second just comment is the soft surface that's going on. That bit includes resurfacing the old playground as well, correct?
yeah, it's called a pour in place, like rubber surface. Think of it as a sport court. And that is ADA requirements to have that. And also, something to point out is if we take those wood chips out that are there, of course, we can get wheelchairs in there. And also, it's going to help with the longevity of a pickleball court surface as well, because, that surface is really expensive to put in. Right now, we're getting wood chips over there, so it also helps us keep that nice as well, so.
Awesome. And then the final thing I'd just say is I know the hospital has been one of the partners. I know
Absolutely.
Jim, Megan, they've been to some of the meetings. Megan has structured a fundraising proposal. And so I think there's going to be a lot of interest from the community in something like this. But
Yeah.
I think it's been a neat project to see. Remind me your name back here in the back.
Nate Adamson.
Adamson. When Nate and his wife came and pitched this, it reminded us of a previous commitment we made to the hospital in conjunction with them giving the 14 acres? 12 acres behind the hospital for the nature park to consider putting something like this in. And so I think now is a good time and fulfilling that obligation along with the interest that we have from the public. So.
Absolutely, yeah. The hospital and Jim and Megan have been awesome. They've been there from the get-go. Back in 2021, we first looked into this, and so, yeah, they've been awesome to work with. And like you said, there's a lot of interest out there with our community partners, and we've reached out to a few more just recently that are very, excited to help out. They just need to know what direction they need to go from here. So tonight, we're just looking for approval to reach out to those partners and see what we can do to make this possible.
Excellent. Any questions from the council?
I'm just curious about the the wear on the equipment and what the, how long do they kind of say it will last and then need to consider replacement?
So it's guaranteed for 15 years,
Okay,
but there is some things that we have to do as a park staff. We have to reseal it every second year. I kind of look at it like when you take care of asphalt, you have to crack seal it and put a new seal coat on it. So, and Taft from Big T Recreation is awesome about that, and he said he would teach our staff how to properly maintain it. So, and he says if you do properly maintain it, it will last 15 years.
and the equipment too will last 15, will we have to maybe do some touch up on it at all, or?
Yeah, he has a schedule of when you need to touch up things, and so we'll
Okay.
follow his recommendations. And
Because we want it to last, that's for sure, especially with this kind of investment.
it's a huge investment, so that'll be one of our main goals is to take care of it, so.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would entertain a motion. One. Either way.
If we approve to go forward.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll be in second if Cody beat.
Okay, so Cody, well, you both beat Don, so that's good.
That's hard to do too.
So we have Councilman Allen for the first, or for the motion, and Councilman White for the second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You can take it up with everyone.
Awesome. And then next month we'll come back and report more, so. All right, thanks.
Awesome, thanks for the work
Yep.
that put into that. And Nate, thanks for coming in. You can see, I just want to say something really quickly about the council that we have, and I believe this to be true about the council that's coming in, is I feel like we've created an environment where people can come in and voice concern, share ideas and things like that, and those will be taken seriously and come to fruition, and we've done a lot of cool things in our community in the last several years, and we appreciate the partnerships that we've formed, so thank you. With that, now we'll turn the time, we'll turn the time over to Grant and Drew for Cougar Land. Grant?
Some members of staff met with representatives from Cougar Land over the past couple of weeks. My understanding is that there's been 2 meetings and kind of an amended proposal. As of an email was forwarded to me from Mr. Moore this morning, Cougar Land is offering compensation to the city in an amount of $34,998.52. And there's a further breakdown on that. There's an amount per acre, an administrative fee, a staging fee, and it looks like 2 administrative fees actually. And it's also proposed that they would increase the bond amount from 1 million to 1.5 million. And the bond would be in place for a period of 5 years. There were also some documents forwarded to me this morning that I haven't had a chance to go through in depth. I have had a chance to look at the permit, and there would need to be some revisions, but at this point, we wanted to present to the council what the revised offer is and see if it's something you're interested in, if you want me to make revisions to the documents that were provided and send them back to Cougar Land. If you're not interested, I understand. And, let's go.
Any thoughts from council?
My thought is, while we love oil and gas, we have wells going under the city already. I'm just kind of wondering how this is a benefit to the residents of Roosevelt, Utah, in a way that, I know this benefits companies and that they can target specific zones. Maybe there's less error, stuff like that going on, because they're going to drill under the city anyway, because they have lease rights under the city. But I'm just wondering if they're really, if the cost outweighs the benefit, and what people's thoughts are on that as far as like citizens in the city, if we're all for it, or it's kind of been a hard one for me to gauge. I know I've got a water line, a water main that runs from the meter to my house that has broke like 5 times in the last 5 years, and just, I'm sure it's a temperature thing, because it always happens about this time of the year. And it's because it wasn't set right, but at the same time, I'm just concerned, like, just minor shaking would potentially cause that to rupture again, which, you know, is a headache for me, because it's sticky soils, and I get out there with the shovel, it takes me like 2 days to do. And
Your main?
yeah. I fixed it a bunch. I know that's kind of, anyway. But I'm probably not the only one in the city, you know, I'm just one of 6 people here making a decision, and I'm sure there are others potentially in the city with similar issues, and how can we, I mean, would it be defensible, like if say that did break about the same time, is there a way from, you know, how hard is it to, I don't know.
So is the
You know what I'm
question,
saying?
if they bond for infrastructure that may be damaged during operation, how is that considered, and will they pay for that if it's questionable? Is
Yeah,
that-
not just my water line, but, you know, we've got city infrastructure.
I wonder if I could respond to that.
Vulnerabilities, and anyway.
I wonder if I
I'm
could
just
respond.
concerned personally about
Yes.
myself, but other citizens that may be in the same kind of situation.
If you don't mind, sorry.
Yeah, this is part of why we want to do this, is just flesh out all the concerns and see.
Absolutely. For you that don't know me, my name is Ivan Shopton, and I represent TGS, who is the main operator of the proposed Roosevelt 3D seismic acquisition here. We essentially do land acquisition throughout North America at any given time. And in fact, we have very specific surcharges that we set up for these specific incidents, where we identify lines, we identify buried facilities, we identify everything, and then we set back any source energy from those areas. We not only do that, we also run PPV monitoring, which essentially is measuring the particle movement of the ground. And in fact, when we did the Tesla here, we actually put one of the units there. And we guarantee essentially that this won't happen. And in fact, if there is damage it's caused by anything that seismic activity does in this area, written right into the permit, it actually states that we will repair those damages. And that doesn't include having to access the bond. And the other side of the coin is, as well, as we write in the city as part of the additional insurance to our policy as well. So you become insulated from these types of activities. So within the actual permit itself, it does state that we will take on all damages. We are responsible for all damages that are caused by the activity, and we are guaranteed to repair those services. So our company's been in production here in North America for many, many years, and in fact, it has been an accumulation of several companies over time. But TGS is based out of Houston. We are an international company, but we are sincerely focused on North America as far as land service is concerned. And we do this all over. And in fact, the last survey we just completed was approximately the same size as the entire area that we're planning here. And we completed it in Ohio with absolutely no final concerns, although there might have been some possible damages that were paid for and addressed, but they were addressed on the site prior to us even leaving. So there is no claims that are against us or the seismic operation to date. That is not.
What kind of concerns or damages were faced?
Typically rutting. We went through an entire season up there, and anywhere that we went into soft lands that we had some ruts and so on and so forth. We were doing a combination of drill and vibrator source on that one. So here in the town of Roosevelt, we would typically, we're only going to run vibrators in here. And the vibrators that we brought to the site here to test, we've actually heard your concerns about the size of the vibrators and the weight of the vibrators. So we are going to bring in smaller vibrators into here, which is 1/3 the weight of the actual ones that we tested here. Considerably smaller, considerably lighter, and far less energy accumulation into the ground. And I think if anybody who was at that test could probably, atone for that. Essentially, when you're standing beside those vibrators, it's not like it's going to shake your house or it's going to shake the ground to the point where you can physically see it on let's say a cup of coffee sitting there. It's very minimal, and we ensure that our setbacks are far enough away from structures including buried facilities, to ensure that that's not gonna happen. If in fact you do have a problem though, and we look at it and we know that we were shaking in the area, we'll just come up and fix it. That's just all there is to it.
Or pay to have it fixed.
Yeah, or pay to have it fixed, exactly, with a local individual.
Okay, so how do we as a city make the public aware that this is happening and make sure they know that if there are issues that result from it, that there is a way to mitigate that? Are we gonna take that, convey that message and make sure citizens understand that, or is that a responsibility that you guys go about doing?
Do you have a standard letter that basically spells out what you guys are doing?
So in the past, in some areas, we have done what we call as a notification letter, where we drop off or mail out letters letting people know what's going on and what's going to happen over the next few days. Roosevelt in itself, we will deploy what we call sensors or geophones, which are just small little listening devices that are planted on the ground. Essentially, they're just a very small spike that sits on the ground. That device will stay there for approximately 15 days within the city, let's say, before it gets retrieved. When we do bring the vibes into the area, all we are going to be doing is occupying very specific spots. And we have sent them out to everybody to see what our pre-plan is for those areas. Those vibes will only occupy the VP itself, so the one singular spot. They will shake on that spot only once, and they will move on to the next spot. They will shake on it, and they'll continue to move up the road, never to come back and reoccupy. And we're looking at about 12 miles of actual line that we're going to shake, which is essentially road surface in most cases. And out of that 12 miles, we feel that we'd be, from start to finish, as far as the vibe operations are concerned, within 4 days. And we're done. Complete. But our program is actually going to be extending into next year as far as the outskirts goes. So when we look at, we got phase 1A, 1B, and 1C. Phase 1A is over the town of Roosevelt in the central area where we're describing it now. But we will be here next year as well. So, and in fact, Cougar Land is contracted with us to continue the permitting efforts for gaining land access and surface access for that service on the next few phases as well.
And we could, David, excuse me, we could, if we need to do some notification, we can run some advertising in the local paper and do something on Facebook. But, I have been doing some work here, and we have permitted probably 550 citizens inside the city.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain all of the operations because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Most of them have just been permitted for the sensors. But doing some advertising and another mail out with everything, to the citizens would notify them.
I think one of the issues that we've had so far is it's very difficult for us to get any type of feedback from individuals and perhaps even yourselves in some cases. And we are willing to certainly stand up in front of anyone who put on a demonstration or mail out letters or knock on doors, or even in fact when we did the test, the first thing we did is we went around to all the local homes in the area and knocked on doors and said, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. If you hear something shaking outside, you'll see a larger piece of equipment sitting there. This is what we're doing. And so we brought them up to speed, so there was no concerns at that point in time from them to us.
I think just a notice of, I don't know, that's my thought is, I'd like to see a notice go out to say, this is happening, and just make people, it would be good for them to know that there is recourse if they feel like they've had damage done. And so if we could notify them and just kind of make them aware of that, I think I would be way more for it.
And David, when we know things like that you're telling us and about specific areas that we need to avoid, then we can increase the buffer around your house there and your water lines and make sure we don't get anywhere near it. So we'll be doing a lot of that, working with your guys to make sure, we don't get into a situation where we cause any problems.
I think the process is something that a lot of people don't truly understand. We bring nappers out first to essentially just survey everything. They go around and they get everything from homes, water wells, structures, anything that has to be identified. We also will produce and put out locators, which will locate any buried facilities if that's what's required at that point in time. When we locate them, we not only locate them digitally, but we also buffer them digitally so that any shot points or DPs, what we would call the source energy, which would be where they shake, those buffer areas are non-encroachable. We cannot come within that buffer area without, and be able to shake from that point. So when we survey all those areas, we identify all these structures, all these concerns, and we set back from those areas. And of course, the higher the concern, the further we set back from those areas. And then we also bring in the PPV monitors. So on each one of the DPs, we will have a monitor sitting in that concern area to register exactly what is being transmitted through the ground. And in fact, it's quite surprising how little actually does get transmitted through the ground. But again, we're looking at a very specific frequency that's the bounce off of geological zones below the earth, not so much to be carried across the surface and shake the foundations. That's what you're also doing of that nature. So I understand water lines or water wells can be of great concern. And in fact, I've mentioned that we were willing to test everybody's water well, including the city's water wells that we put anywhere near them, which means a pre and a post test as well. So we're definitely committed to ensuring that when we're complete here, we want everybody within the community to be happy that we're here and welcome us back to phase 3, 4, and 5, whichever comes next. So,
Okay, thank you for the information.
yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you. One, before you sit down, I have just a couple questions, because when we had our meeting, there's two things that stand out to me that just want to make sure that we bring up, and that is you mentioned the maps.
Yes.
And were you able to get with some of our staff in regards to some of our infrastructure, the golf course, the airport, and things like that, to discuss where you might be able to put your equipment and make sure that they felt comfortable if we were to approve something like that?
So I know for a fact that the golf course, we went out and actually pre-surveyed the golf course. So we had surveyors that went out there, worked with the golf course itself to ensure that we were putting everything outside of the areas that they had concerns. In fact, what we did is we took all the source energy and took it off because they had water line concerns in the area. And we put geophones all over to it as opposed to others. And then we placed those geophones in positions where they were acceptable as far as the course was concerned. The last thing we wanted to do was any damage or have any issues following up after this. And we, of course, we know the course is shut down now. And when they fire up in the spring, we don't want them to have issues as well. So for us, it's just within our best interest to ensure that we're set back from those areas. Now, as far as the infrastructure goes, maybe
we did survey the airport, and we've got actual survey positions where we want to put the receivers, and we have the infrastructure and have planned to move stuff away from all the infrastructure there.
And I think Kirby supplied us just with some rudimentary
Oh,
maps
yes.
for the line locations and some with
Yep.
sewer and water. So we do have some stuff, and we can essentially take that digitally and digitize it or produce it as a digital file, but realistically, we want to locate those facilities as well. So as far as following a digital file, sometimes they're great to plan with, but realistically, we want to know exactly where that line resides, because if in fact in the plan it says it's here and it's actually here, there could be an encroachment issue. So we really want to ensure that we're identifying the line, where it's located, so that we can set back proper distance from those areas and not encroach.
One of the things I'm thinking of too is JUD, we've already mentioned them, but make sure that they would be involved in anything that happens at the airport to make sure that it doesn't affect us with our federal funding and things.
I've talked to Kim.
Okay. Did she have any feedback initially on that, or just?
No, initially, just as long as it wasn't on the runway and the taxiway, was the biggest concern. And of course, the height, if there was any kind of height.
And then the last thing that I remember, at least being brought up in that meeting, that was somewhat addressed here, is the initial payment to Roosevelt City was about $17,500. It looks like that has been raised, and there's some concessions there that would increase that to approximately $35,000. I know Kirby, you had gotten a bid, and one of the concerns that, I'll just finish and then I'll let you speak, Doug, but one of the concerns is that we want to make sure that we're not subsidizing, and this was mentioned in the other meeting, that we're not subsidizing the private industry, and so we want to make sure that if we're doing work, that is being paid for. And so he did get a bid, but go ahead, Doug, and then Kirby, I'd like to hear your feedback on that.
Yep. So,
Doug, so would point out that there are provisions where there could be additional funds paid. But that's one of the areas that I have concerns with the document, is it talks about an hourly rate that's not specified and also covering costs. So things like blue stakes or that kind of thing, the way that it's written, I think the intention is that that would be paid on top of the 35,000.
correct, exactly.
But I think we need to flesh that out more before this document would be ready to be signed, if that's the direction the council decides.
I would agree.
Yes.
Yes.
So as far as TGS is concerned, whatever your contractor's rates are and whatever you guys deem those rates to be is what we pay. So essentially, we're not here to dictate what those rates are for repairs or any of the services that we're asking for. So within the permit itself, our full intention is to cover all costs, so that no costs go back to the city for any of our activities out there at all. So even that's full intention, that's exactly how we want it written, and if there's adjustments to it, we are certainly willing to make those adjustments to make it more clear.
And so the hourly rate that's left blank, you would anticipate that we would come with an hourly rate that we felt comfortable with.
Yeah, there was concern that was brought to us of staff time. And we don't know what your staff hourly rate is. So, and I know it varies depending on person. So it would be flexible enough that we would be billed appropriately.
And maybe we would fill in that blank at that point. But Kirby, you did get with engineering firm that works with Roosevelt City. And so to check to see if we were unable ourselves to mark those lines, if we were just to contract that out because we are shorthanded, what that cost would be to Roosevelt City.
Yeah, so that number came in close to $80,000, but there was some changes on how many roads.
Right.
That they cut down on the roads and stuff, so there would be a little adjustment there, obviously, because originally, we were talking all the roads.
Right.
But, so, there's some adjustment, but that was the number that I've got, that was quoted to me.
And I can go one step further than that. In fact, we're very used to managing that portion of it ourselves. So instead of the city having to manage direct locators to come out and actually locate facilities, we would do it and then send documentation to your guys' division who could prove it and ensure that it's done correctly. And we would take on all the responsibility for contracting the individuals and paying for those contracts as well. And that's not unusual for us to do.
Okay.
That's normal. And in fact, we have reached out to a few different companies to essentially say that this might be a possibility because we know that you guys are short-handed. So.
So, just wanted to make clarification that everybody understands that a lot of our lines, because of the age and what type they are, there's not trace wire with them. We can work them to the best of our ability, but I can't guarantee that's exactly where they're at, which I'm sure you guys understand that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. You know, the newer lines, the ones that we started putting trace wire with, that's not an issue. But the older transite lines, galvanized lines, steel lines, you know, unless you can locate them when you know with a locator, they will be, you know, a lot of them we've seen, but there's some we still aren't sure, so.
And when
Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, and when it comes to that kind of situation operationally, we would identify those lines with your help, and we would just completely avoid it. So essentially, we would say, okay, this is not identifiable. What do we do to set back to ensure that we stay out of the area, or we set back out of the area? And, you know, I think it's transite lines
Yes.
would essentially be one of those areas where we will not go down those roads. We would just avoid and not use them. So.
Excellent. Okay.
So how far, what's the buffer, you know, from a structure?
It does vary, so. Go
And
ahead.
it depends, I mean, you can also change the drive level of the vehicle. So, I mean, if we had the large fives and three of them, it's 300 foot, if we're driving as hard as can be. So, obviously, we're not gonna be driving as hard as can be, and we're not bringing the big vibes in town. So, before we start, we will have PPV monitors go out and actually test from the vibe out to see what that distance needs to be for the actual vibes we're using.
So you are avoiding proximity to structures for the
Yes.
most part? You're
Absolutely.
creating that,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
Because, you know, city infrastructure is one thing, but
Right.
every individual in the city has their own infrastructure they're probably concerned about.
And that's one of the reasons why we run the PPVs, because we want baselines to understand how we're affecting that local environment, in particular homes, buildings, cement structures, all of that stuff is all in consideration for how close can we get to that without having some sort of reaction to the facility or to the building itself. So we run the PPV and we actually ensure that we're under what is recommended. We are less than what is recommended at all times. And again, that also benefits TGS or whoever we're operating out there because it lessens our liability for any type of issue that we could run into. So for us, realistically, our mandate is to get the best quality data without affecting any of the surface operations, meaning landowners, cities, towns, without somehow, affecting them negatively in a very.
Just a quick question, this kind of maybe on a more of a selfish nature, but in your experience, have you had any issues with other buried utility infrastructure, say fiber optic lines or electric lines?
Usually fiber optic is typically they have tracer wires on all of it
Okay,
because they're very
but
high.
the activities generally don't interfere with that.
I've never had an issue with vibes. The only thing, if you were penetrating the ground, then there could be a potential, but
It doesn't
with the
go-
vibes, we don't penetrate the ground, so it's not drilling a hole, digging a hole, and that much.
Thank you.
Great, good discussion so far. Any other questions?
I just had one, so Councilman Barrett mentioned kind of what's the benefit to the city. You're collecting data. One thing sounds like with working with Kirby, finding the water lines, you might have a better map, especially on ones that
Sure.
we're not sure.
And we'll share that data.
And you would
as well.
share that?
Yeah.
If there were any, I know you're collecting data specifically, probably oil related, right? And those kind of things. If there's anything you find that might be of concerning that Roosevelt City should be aware of, is that something you'd be sharing as well with us?
Well, I think that comes back to our clients, which in this case for Roosevelt area is SM. Now, SM does the interpretation on the data itself, okay? So the data that we're getting essentially is identifying geohazards and geological zones below the earth, multiple zones below the earth, sometimes up to 20,000 feet plus.
Right.
So realistically, they do the interpretation, but what it allows the producing company like SM is it gives them certainty on what they're doing with their bids.
Right.
And in today's day and age, we all know that activity on the surface is sometimes looked at negatively, but if they can mitigate those activities by understanding what's under the subsurface, it significantly helps companies like SM to do that and to work more with the communities, not only that, but develop in a more ecological, mindful way in the community. And I think you guys might have seen the letter from SM that 20th cent. I mean, it's crucial in today's day and age for them to have seismic data. Everywhere we go, most of them will not drill without seismic data. And I know we talk a lot about benefit to, let's say, Roosevelt or individuals that were permitting. But I mean, just even having our crews in this area, we've done initial analysis on value. We feel we're going to be bringing $2.5 million to the local community just with the seismic acquisition alone. That's not to say SM and any of the other participants, because our surveys, when we finish them, they are up to bid, and we've just signed a deal with Crescent. I can say that with you, that Crescent is now participating in the survey as well. They have the opportunity to buy that data and utilize that data for their service as well, which in turn means industry, economics, there's benefits back to this community for the long term. So we'll have the data for 20 years. No matter who's here, that data is available to them for purchase to be able to evaluate. So one of the advantages of us, TGS, is once we finish a survey, there's not a requirement for somebody else to come and reshoot it. Because they can just come to us and say, yeah, I need a copy of this, and we say, yeah, it's this much, and we say, thank you. And we walk away. So our model lends itself to these types of things where we'll be here, there'll be 4 or 5 days of shaking in this area. There'll be 2 weeks of seeing trucks going and laying a few geophones up, and suddenly we'll be gone. And we'll never see another recording crew back into the city, or you shouldn't have to, because the data is available to all. We don't make it proprietary where we don't sell it to somebody.
Thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions?
I'm wondering with all of the new things you presented and meeting with the city, how Kirby's feeling about it.
Well, some things obviously I have mixed feelings on, but, I, overall, you know, not have experienced this type of anything obviously done in our town. But all I can do is what I've done, just make you guys aware of what potentially could go wrong, what potentially I'm worried about, you know, but the final decision obviously is with you. But, and I've expressed everything I possibly could, the roads, the transit lines, you know, and everything that comes with that. But, other than that, you know, there's always some concerns, and it's kind of a decision that, but I don't have to make myself. That's it.
I think the one thing we always go back to is, even though we sign in front of the landowner of the city or municipality or any number of communities, it doesn't lock them into this is exactly how we're gonna do it. We ensure that we are still in talks with the individuals or with the main components of it, and we continue to evolve. We are very, very elastic. We can adjust on the fly very quickly. So if things are identified and Kirby comes up to us and says, hey, I'm a little concerned here, we make the changes on the spot, and we do it right now. And again, the permit is to allow us rights to explore over top and record the seismic operation. It still doesn't give us the rights to jeopardize infrastructure or damage things within this community. That's why we stand behind our product and say, we will repair those things. That's just all there's to it. There's no question about that.
And, excuse me, I just want to throw something in there too, and I appreciate Kirby's comments about, you know, he's given us all the information he can. You guys have been very good to mitigate those concerns, and I agree with you, Kirby. This is something that we shouldn't lay on this head of a staff member. So if you get it wrong, then it's like, well, you messed up and you advised us wrong. So I think this is something that the council needs to, we've been well informed. If we feel like we need more information, we can do that. But ultimately, just know that this is something that we're elected to do. And so it's going to be our responsibility to kind of shoulder that. So just just making sure we appreciate your recommendations, but we don't want any staff to feel like, well, you screwed up and you didn't tell us exactly. And so just know that.
We appreciate your input as
Yeah.
well.
And we appreciate you saying that. That's
So.
I have one other question. So
And then we'll go to Bo.
in the contract, I know the contract is with the city, there's contracts with homeowners to put the little sensors there, but the liability, the bond, everything, does that cover the landowners within the city or only city infrastructure?
Well, right now it's covering the city, so essentially.
Whole city,
Yeah.
including structures within the city that aren't owned by the
Included
city?
everything within the city, so the bond that we post will be with the city.
Okay, and within the contract, it also has language that includes, it's not gonna exclude any, private infrastructure outside, I guess, city infrastructure.
We definitely try not to, so, I mean.
I just wanna make sure that's not like hidden in there somewhere.
Not right now.
I don't
but something-
anticipate, I really hope that there's no issues, and I don't anticipate that anyone in the city will have issues with what you've said, but I just wanna make sure we're covered.
Right. It's not in the document right now, but if it's the direction you guys want to go, my recommendation would be that we expand it fairly substantially.
Yeah, and that's fine. The last thing we want is ambiguity to the contract itself. We want to ensure that it's straightforward and clear. Clear language, straightforward, to ensure that everybody is covered and there's no disconnect in that.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for your clarification.
Well, I appreciate your time, guys.
Appreciate it.
So you had a comment?
Yeah, I just had one question in regards to, like, the warranty period. I mean, it
Right.
sounds like you're in and out pretty quick.
Yes.
if there is damage, it may not be knowable for a certain amount of time, so what is the
5 years.
5 years?
There's a 5-year bond.
Yeah.
So it's a
and-
$1.5 million bond that's in place for 5 years following the service.
And just to put it into some scope, I just went back on a program that was 10 years old, just recently. And it was because there was a drill hole that there was an artesian well, so it was flowing water out of it. And we sent it right back to Boeing. So
So you
And
beyond that, you
if we're responsible for it, we will come
Yeah.
in and make it up. That's essentially what we do. And that's why our reputation, that we stand on our reputation when it comes to this sort of thing. And, I mean, it's not uncommon for us to get called half a year later, even a year later, and like it's something like that, with a flowing hole, they didn't even realize it was there. And suddenly they come back and say, hey, listen, this thing's flowing water on the start of the road. We went back and poured down like 36 bags of bed, I get the reverse auger drill, drilled it right in, plugged it all up. So you can imagine how big the cavern was in the bottom, the water washed out. So we put 35 bags of them into it. So it's, and it's sealed up great. Great job. It won't come back.
Great.
If
And
an
are
artesian well pops up on my property, we'll probably let it go.
Like some bottle.
Wink, wink, I think he was. It just all of a sudden appears. He's only going to be councilman for 2.5 weeks.
That was our last meeting.
Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? Grant, do you have anything to add?
Just waiting for direction.
So,
I'm just thankful that the council who's taken our seats here in a couple of weeks are here. I think this is important for them to be informed on this as we leave, so thank you for being here.
That's fair. Rowdy, you've been pretty quiet. Do you have any thoughts, comments?
I think everything, I mean, we've beat this up pretty good. Been a lot of questions. After the last meeting, I definitely was concerned. I think most of those concerns have been put to rest now with this meeting. A lot more information than that. It sounds to me like, and I'm trusting in these guys and they're the company, but it seems to be like they know what they're doing. And I think I have a good amount of trust in them.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will just say, really quickly, there was a comment, Dave, you made, that there isn't anything directly to benefit our citizens, but indirectly we're all benefited by the oil and gas industry. And I will just say that, I mean, we want to be a good partner that way. We just want to make sure that we don't cause any additional burden on just the residents of Roosevelt City. So I just wanted to clarify that we do recognize that the industry, the oil and gas industry, drives our economy. And so we do want to be good neighbors, but we also want to be good stewards of the responsibility that we have. And I guess that's the best way to put that. So with that, is there any direction from the council, any motions, one way or the other, so we can let Cougar Land and TGS know what to do, and staff, give some direction to staff?
I haven't said much this meeting about this, but I feel like as long as we can have the concerns that we have addressed, that we proceed with the contract with doing this land survey. That may take some legal work and different things, but I think it'd be a benefit to our area to know more about what is under our city and how we can capitalize on that.
So is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion.
Mayor, so I was just gonna, can we add with Grant's approval or Grant's revisions that were recommended?
The legal counsel review, yeah. What were you
That was the same comment, yeah. Yeah, expanding the provisions to include and make sure that we've got coverage for homeowners and anyone with infrastructure in the city.
And then you also said the rate or whatever for the administration.
Which is perfect, yeah.
I didn't specify that, but that was hopefully implied.
Yeah. And it sounds like maybe, I'm looking at this and I read a little, read briefly before the meeting, but it sounds like contract fees if we were to contract people to help, or if you were to contract people to assist in line marking, things like that, that would be covered, making sure that those provisions are added.
Yeah, in fact, I think we reached out to Outlaw Engineering to see if they had capabilities to come and locate it as well, so.
Okay,
And we have them under contract with us right now as well.
great. So, sounds like the motion is to proceed with legal counsel review. And I would ask, is there a second to the motion? Second by Councilman Allen, and you had a comment.
So legal counsel review, that would encompass, just clarification, that encompasses ensuring there are provisions in there to cover or expanding the contract to make sure that.
One thing that I think would put everyone at ease is if we motion to move forward, contingent on grant, looking at the contract, making modifications, and then bringing a final contract back to council, maybe in a forthcoming meeting. That would kind of put to bed some of the concerns, but then at least you could address the provisions that were added tonight and make sure that they're all included, and just finalize something that we can actually look at. Because it is a little bit too open-ended in my mind to just go ahead and say, yeah, let's just sign off on it. But it sounds like we are in favor of it. Let's get those provisions in it, bring a final contract or draft back before the council in a following meeting.
Okay.
How does that sound? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Still a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
You get to begin that. We did all the hard work. Now you guys just get to approve it when it's all finalized. Hey, no, we didn't approve it.
Yeah, you have to,
And you can't blame it on me anyway, I don't need to vote.
that's right.
We did have on the meeting agenda, the Cedar View Mont Well agreements. We did send those out to Cedar View Mont Well to get feedback. We were anticipating that we might get some feedback from them before this meeting. We have not received that, so I don't think it's pertinent that we go over those again. However, I will be attending their meeting tomorrow to see if they do have any feedback and where we're at. Although that will land in your guys' lap probably next month as well. So, but I'll do everything I can. If you want to go, Tommy, I think it's 5:30 tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll jump to the next one, which is the Rough Rider Shooting Complex Earthwork Bid Award, right?
I'll have this out. Okay.
Just a little brief history. We've been working on the gun range for about 15 years. We've been waiting for a grant since Rowdy was on the council several years ago. But we did get the grant, and now we're moving forward finally with a lot of the excavation and things taking place. So Jeff, go ahead and take us away.
Okay,
Pass one down.
Jeff Baker with Jones Engineering, so Sierra can make sure she gets that in the minutes, but, so we've been working with Ryan, many of you have heard, so this was a bid that we put out for, the earthwork for the long range, portion, and, there's a multi-purpose range for archery and other, smaller things like that, so, it's about 30,000 cubic yards of earth moving efforts, utilizing material on site on the project. So it was advertised through the state procurement website, which has been a good thing that we've seen lots of bids come in. So like on the bid opening today, we had 11 bids turned in on time and 1 20 minutes late. So 12 bids, which is quite some interest. So it happens that the lowest bidder ended up not submitting everything they needed to for the bidding documents, the requirements. They didn't have a big form filled out with a signature and a few other things. The next lowest bidder was only $3,500 more. 30, what is that math?
$3,550.
$3,550. more, and they did submit everything that was required according to the bidding documents. So our recommendation is that they would be the lowest responsible bidder according to what was put out. And that would be Kolob Mountain Construction LLC out of Virgin, Utah, with a bid of $143,900, which is also quite a bit better than we kind of anticipated being as well. The engineer's estimate was about $225,000. So pretty good bid, and all of them were very competitive. We were able to call some references on the Kolob Mountain Construction, and everything came back really great. Every way that they were put before was very supportive, so they did an awesome job. So we don't have any concerns. Ryan was at the bid opening. Mayor, you were there. I don't know, anything else you want to add?
No, I just appreciate the work that went into it, and I am grateful to see the interest that we had when we bid some of the other projects before. We had 2 or 3 interested parties, to see that many. And I agree with Jones and DeVille's recommendation of the Kolob Mountain Construction. Our procurement policy does say that, the lowest responsible bidder, and they were the lowest ones to fulfill all of the requests that we have, and so I would agree with what Jeff proposed. Yeah, Ryan?
Yeah, I just want to add to that too. Also, we looked up the referrals, we called them all the day, everything was positive, so we felt comfortable with co-op.
Great. Any questions for Jeff from the council?
I would move we approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, Baird was the second, sorry.
Mayor, I'm really surprised it came that low. I expected it to be higher based on past earthwork, so I'm glad to see we're gonna have money for other things for that.
I agree, and that'll help us to, put in a few more amenities out there, which will be good. We wanna, I don't know if do we have the bathrooms similar to what we put at the nature park included in the overall project?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I think the one thing that Ryan and I have been talking about is, obviously it's great to get this going, we know it's the first step, but there's kind of been a committee already formed in the past, right? And I think that committee needs to meet again to discuss, obviously the bathrooms are high importance too, right? But we have a fixed budget and it's a decent amount of money, but what's the priority on where we go next?
Tommy, I was on that committee. Did we already go through the appointment part of the portion of the meeting? I proposed to the council to appoint J.R. Bird on the gun range committee. Just an FYI.
Anyway, those bathrooms are spendy, but they're probably the way to go. I mean, I really don't know if you're gonna get away with anything cheaper.
Yeah.
And they're nice, and they're easy to maintain, I think, and the city's able to do most of the install themselves, so.
It is part of our obligation as far as conditional use permit from Ballard. And so we do have to have some type of restroom amenities out there. So. Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff. Do we have did we see the purchase orders go down?
Yeah, I move we approve the financials.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Department update. I don't know, that's kind of why I skipped over that one. I don't know.
That's, Josh usually has one department come present, but he's under the weather, I think, Mayor, so I don't know that we'll have that.
We don't have a department.
Do you have anything for us, Ryan?
Just a couple things. We gotta get this to last a little longer.
You got a bet?
No, we haven't
Nobody
done that
paid
for
me
a while.
before the meeting, so I figured there were no bets going on.
We'll do it with the new crew. First of all, just to kind of give you an update too, this morning, so we got a lot going on. It's winter and things are ramping up with gun range. I'm sure we're gonna see some construction out there soon. But also we had our pre-construction meeting for the pedestrian crossing on State Street. You will see some action there starting January 12th. So, depending on the weather, right? So hopefully it holds up.
For the public that doesn't know, that's to connect our trail system from the nature park over behind Strata. So that's a major portion of that project.
Second thing, Josh would be really excited if I announce this, so I better do it. So Santa Parade is Thursday, the 18th. We'll be starting at 4:30 from here. The cops will be involved with the fire truck as well. Mayor, are you gonna be attending that?
Somebody will.
Okay.
Santa, if he's sick, what we're gonna do?
I hear he's gonna be all right.
Okay.
This is like one of them Hallmark. Say Christmas. Anyway, it starts at 4:30, it'll end at 6:30. Edwin has put a good post out on the map. The route we're doing, we're gonna do the same route as last year, so our first stop will be at Constitution Park. And then we'll end here with the city building, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Got the elementary schools in the middle of that too, so, yeah.
And I think he's got over 300 gifts.
It's been a lot of wrapping the past couple of days.
Glad we have some elves.
Yeah. Trying to get pointy ears right now.
And last thing I wanted to say was, I'm kind of mixed emotions on this, so just bear with me on this one for a minute. But I'm just appreciative of every one of you, and I think I'm saying this on behalf of our staff. I'm 100% confident in that. And one of the blessings of working in admin, I get to hear everyone from the staff and also rub shoulders with each and every one of you. And it's a bittersweet. We're gonna miss the three of you, and we're excited for the three of you to be joining us. So I just wanted to say thank you, Mayor Byrd, Dave Baird, and Dustin, for all the hard work, dedication that you've shown for the city, and the support that you've shown the staff. And I don't know how to express that. I'm probably not the best person to do this, but I just know that you can go home and feel good about what you've done here for the city and for the staff. So on behalf of the staff, we thank you for what you've done, and excited to work with you. So.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
And that's all
Thank
I
you,
have,
guys.
so.
Well, I just have to say, it's been one of the greatest blessings I've had to work with the Roosevelt City staff, so. Gonna miss it, and then also, there's some things that I'm not gonna miss. But the people I'll definitely miss, so thank you. Committee reports, do you have anything for us, Tom?
I don't, but I'll be the one you won't miss, but he'll miss the others, and that's fine. But I just want to say thanks again to the mayor and Councilman Baird and Councilman White for their service and all their hard work for Roosevelt City. I've appreciated how much they care for the city and want to do its best, and I like the direction. Nothing's ever perfect, but I think we've got a lot of good things going on, and it's a lot because of these men here. So I just have appreciated being here on the council and learning from them.
Thanks, Tom, appreciate that. And I will miss you. I'm just gonna.
Just for the record, you want to clarify that?
Just to see your faces. And to raise a little heck, maybe.
And maybe to campaign.
Yeah, that too. You have anything, Councilman White?
Nothing to report.
Councilman Baird?
I don't have anything to report, but I also just want to say thanks to staff. It's been really good working with you guys, and it's been good working with this council. I love the city of Roosevelt. Grant, it's been great working with you. I feel like I've made a lot of good friends serving in this position, and so I just really appreciate this opportunity that I've had. Thanks, appreciate the citizens of Roosevelt for putting their faith and trust in me. And what I was going to say, I love that all three of us are giving up our seats willingly. There was no, fights politically. You guys had to deal with your own little fights on the battleground, but I just like that we have term limits. I think that's a great thing for our city, and I trust that you guys who are coming in are going to do a great job. So, thanks for running and excited for you guys to serve.
Thank you, I do appreciate the term limits as well.
I don't have anything
Nothing
else.
to report, but I'll echo those same sentiments. Appreciate all of you and the work you've done.
Thank you.
Same thing, yeah.
Ditto.
6 years went pretty quick. That's been great.
Incredibly fast. It's been a good ride. It's been fun, and hopefully we've left the city in a position where you guys can do something with it. So, well, if there's nothing else, would entertain a
I
motion.
move we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion in the second. All in favor?
Aye.
We already done.
Grant, do you need that as a board file?